Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi barakatuhu. Subject Computer Application for 12th Standard C section. In this class, we are going to start a new chapter, chapter number 8, Forms and Files. Last class, we completed the chapter 7. Now, in this session, we are going to discuss two topics of chapter 6. Number 1, HTML forms. Number 2, files. First topic, HTML forms. Of course, we already learned HTML forms controls in previous year in plus one, how to use HTML forms tag. Now in this topic we are going to see how we use HTML forms as well as PHP for sharing data. The main objective of PHP and HTML forms controls are collect data from the user. So user use computer server through remote method. So whenever user want to send any data to the server, user can use these controls, that is HTML forms controls like text boxes, drop down boxes, radio button, etc. for giving data to server. There are two types of codings we are going to discuss here. One is client side programming, another one is server side programming. In the beginning of the PHP topic, we already discussed this topic. So now we are recalling the same topic. The basic HTML forms controls comes under client-side programming, which are used by a different language called HTML, hypertext markup language. All the processing are done in client-side computer, and all the data are collected and sent to server. In server, there was a PHP programs which accept these data and do some necessary operation required for the information. So first we want to understand the client-side programming, that is HTML controls. Number one, text is an first control normally used by HTML forms. Accepts text, a text area. Buttons which accept three type of buttons from the in HTML forms. They are submit, reset, and cancel. Next control is checkbox. It is an important feature to select more than one value from the HTML form. Radio box is similar to checkbox, but only one can be selected at a time. File select is the best feature to select one file from the local machine to server machine at a time. So these are called HTML controls. Next important tag is form tag. Without this tag we cannot use the above discussed controls. So if you want to accept any text, we can use the text input type. If you want to use any buttons, we can use submit, reset, cancel buttons. We can use checkboxes, we can use radio buttons, we can use files of the local machine or our client machine and send their machines to their files to server machine. So form tag is used to mention a method called post or get and control the entire form controls to the in the HTML tag. So form tags contains two types of methods. One is post, another one is get. So what is the difference between post and get? Whenever we press any button through post, then all the input values are synchronized and sent to server via post method or get method. Method is an attribute form tag in HTML. Once the data reaches the server, two PHP variables such as post and get underscore post and get collects the data and prepare the response accordingly. So there are two methods in client side, that is in HTML. One is post method, another is get method. If any user use a post method, then all the data sent to server are collected and stored in the variable called underscore post. If a user use the get method in HTML, then all the data are sent to server collected by a variable, that is server side variable called underscore get. So what is the difference between post method and get method? The input data sent to server with post method is stored in the request body of the client's HTTP. So all the data are stored in the request body of the client's HTTP, whereas get method, the input data sent to server with post method via URL address is known as query string. So all input data are visible by the user after they clicks the submit button. So all the data are sent by the get method are sent through URL. So we can understand this post and get method by using the two files. One is test.html where we write a client server program, and welcome.php where we write the server side program. First, I would like to open the Notepad software for describing the codes written inside these two files. Number one, test.html. So open test.html. The file which we write here in WAM server, all the HTML files, that is client server programming files and server side programming files, should be saved within the folder called ww with us created inside WAM64. So we should save all the files. It may be client or a server side programming, it may be HTML file or PHP file. We should save the file in C drive within that WAM64 and within that ww folder. So from here I would like to open the code called test.html. Here you can see the normal tags used in HTML for creating the HTML page, that is open HTML, open body tag. After that we also use the close tag also here, close open, close body, close HTML. So next the important tag is form tag. So here we use two attributes of form tag. One is action, another one is method. So of course we know method is a way of sending data from client machine to server. So here we want to choose either post or get. If you choose post, all the data will store in the HTTP body, whereas if you use get method, then all the data sent through URL. So we are sending by post method in this example. So when we send any data, where the data should go, there should be any file in server. That file is called server side programming, which was already written in this file, namely welcome.php. So this is the file which was already created in server programming, that is in server side server computer. So now we are going to open the second file called note welcome.php from WAM server file. So here we see what is the written inside this welcome.php. So here you can see the two files coding. One is the test, another one is welcome. So test is the client side programming, and test is welcome is the server side programming. So here you can see in the form tag there are two attributes which we already discussed the method. Now now we are discussing the second attribute called action. So whenever we send any data, that data should be sent to this page welcome.php. So in welcome.php what we return, see, we write the PHP code, namely echo underscore post, and we use a name, a variable name, and another one is dollar underscore post. We already see it that whenever we send any data through post, all the data are stored in the variable called underscore post. See, we use the underscore post here. So this is the server side variable. So it means we are using a post method for sending data to this file. That's why we use here the variable underscore post. Suppose we use get, then we should change this variable as into get underscore get. Then only we can access the values sent to this web page. So what are the values we are trying to send through form action? Number one is the first input type text. So text is the variable control which accept text data. So name of that control is name. Here we can see the name is equal to name. It means we are sending a data through text control, and all the data of text control is stored in the variable called name. So name is the variable created by user in client side programming, that is test.html. The another control is input type email, name is equal to email. So here you can see we use two controls, one is text, another one is email. So what we try to do is we accept the name and email of a user. So and we also use another input type, another control called submit. So in test.html we created three controls, namely text, email and submit. For each and every control we use a name for identification purpose. Here you can see the first control name is name, second control name is email. If you want we can change the data. So first we try to understand how it works. So open the WAM server and open the file test.html, because we are giving a input through the client server programming file called test.html. So in the WAM server program, in the local host, open the file test.html. You can see three controls are here. One is name, another one is email, third one is submit. These controls are created through this coding. See, input type is equal to text, input type is equal to email, input type is equal to submit. See, we use three controls. Now what we do, we want to type our name. For example, our name Akbar, and email name Akbar 1234 at gmail.com. And after that, when we press this submit query button, all these data are stored in the variable in name. Akbar is stored in the variable name, Akbar 123 at gmail id is stored in the variable email, and all the data are sent to the another web page called server page, namely welcome.page. So welcome.php page will open. So in welcome.php page, what we do, we display the name and we display the address, email address, which was given in test.html. So all the inputs are given in the web page called test.html. When I press the submit query button, these data are transferred to the variable called underscore post, and from that variable two values are separated by using this method underscore post name underscore post email, and these data are displayed on the screen by using echo command. See, now I am pressing the submit query. You can see a new web page is created, namely welcome.php. So this page is open because we use the action attribute in the form tag. So action is equal to welcome.php. So that's why the welcome.php is open and these codes are executed. All the data from test is transferred to welcome.php through the post method. That's why all the data are stored in the variable underscore post, and by using the dollar underscore post we separated each and every element like name, email, and we print the data. You can see welcome Akbar, your email ID is akbar1234 at gmail. So we know Akbar is given in the web page test.html, and this email data is given in the test.html. When we press the submit button, all the data are sent to welcome.php because of this attribute, welcome.php attribute, and all the data are stored in the variable underscore post and they are separated and printed on the screen. Suppose if you change the name of the variable into n, for example, now in the welcome.php you use the variable name as n, and here when you try to open the same variable, now you can see there was an error in the welcome.php. What is the error? Undefined index n. but there was no error in second variable because both the variable names are same in test.html as well as in welcome.php. So what is the difference in the here is, for the first control the variable name is name here, and here we use the n. So when I change the coding of test.html and try to refresh the values and try to send a new value to the variable through the post method from test.html, you can see there was no error and all the data are accepted by underscore dot post and display on the screen. See, because this is the name which we actually use in welcome.php, that is server side programming. So all these codings are executed in a single computer because of WAM. If you think, imagine that this is the page which we actually see in our web pages, and this is the page which actually happened in the server side. Of course, when we create any email or we are trying to give any order to any Flipkart or Yahoo, Amazon companies, then we type all the required data and we press the button, and all the data are collected and sent to the particular Flipkart or Amazon page, and all the data are processed by this way only. So this is the simple method how we can create values and send the data to the server programming. So next one, we are trying to see the second type of control variables, where we try to understand the basic form validation process in client side programming. Validation is a process of checking the input data before submitting. For example, in WAM server, when you open a file test.html, this will ask you to enter name and email of your data, but without giving any data, if you press the submit query, then welcome.php file will open without any null values. So this is an error. It means if you want to accept any data from the user, it was compulsory, then we can check here. In the same way, for example, I type the name, for example, Daniel, and I leave email blank, then click the submit query, then you cannot see any error for asking for email address. So this can be done through the form validation. For example, if you set any control as a mandatory, then you can set it through this form validation. So this can be achieved through two methods. One is client side validation, another one is server side validation. Now we are going to see the client side validation. How we can check our input data before sending the data to server machine. This can be done through some of the basic attribute called required. So required is a basic attribute of any input type, input tag, which asks you for compulsory giving any data. So I tried created a file namely called test1.html, where I use a attribute called required. See, required attribute in client side pro computing, where I try to give any input data, then it will ask me to enter data. So this is the only attribute, the simple attribute which can be used for any control like name, email, website, radio, checkbox, etc. So now I'm going to open the test1.html file for giving a demo about the validation in Chrome, Google Chrome web browser, because my WAM server is corrupted and it shows nothing in validation. That's why I try to open the test1.html file in Google Chrome, where I try to explain the validation, client side validation attribute, namely required. See, I will first open the second file, namely test1.html, where I use a client-side validation attribute for input tags. See, I'm opening the second file, test1.html. So open the file code test1.html in Notepad, and then we will see the validation, how validation works in client-side programming. Test1.html. Here you can see the same codes before we discuss is written with a special attribute called required, which is not in the previous web page test.html. So here you can see the two attributes are used. One is required for both the controls. Now as in output you can see the output, how the validation works. So open the Google Chrome, because it was not working in web server. That's why I opening the file in Google Chrome to help you to understand the validation, client side validation. You can see the same out of previous web page test.html, but the difference is in test1.html we use a attribute namely called a required. See, you can see two variables. So here when you press submit button without giving any value, then it will show some errors. See, when I press submit button, it show please fill out this field, because I use a required attribute for this control. So that's why it asks me to give the data. It will show some error. When I remove this required attribute from here and save the coding, and I will try to refresh the code, and when I press the submit button, you can see the same message, please fill out this message, warning message is displayed for email, not for name, because in coding required attribute is used for email, not for input name. So this is the difference between this is called the validation. So without giving any data we cannot go for next step when we use the required attribute. So I use the required attribute for both the controls. When I refresh, so here when I click the submit button, then it will ask to enter name. I enter name as Khalil. After I again press the submit button without giving email, then it will again ask me to give the email ID. If I give the email ID, for example, the and give submit, then it asks please include at, because this is the called validation. So client server computer identified that this is not valid email, because each and email should contain the symbol called at symbol and dot. That's why at is missing here. So when I give the at symbol and press the submit button, you can see it is incomplete. So we want to fulfill the at symbol. After that we want to give some server name which provide the email service to us. So when giving the valid email ID and giving the valid name, and when we press the submit button, then all the data will send to the welcome.php. Welcome.php is open here, but we cannot see the output because this is not a server server software, it is a Chrome software. That's why it shows the PHP coding here. Suppose the server, if the server software is here, then it will show the output which we already discussed in the previous topic. So this is called the server client side validation. So here we should understand what is the attribute which for use in the which was used in the client side programming, namely required. So this is the important point which we should understand. So try this coding in server computer in your system. it may work. My server was WAM server was corrupted. That's why it shows error. Next topic is files. So in PHP create we can handle files of any system. That means we can open a file, we can read a file, we can close a file, write a file, appending a file, and even we can upload a file from client server machine to server machine. So we can open, read, close, write of server system client machine system files, and we can append a file, and also we can upload a file. Now we are going to discuss these six operation related to files. So first operation is file open. The function for opening a file is fopen. Next, how we can use the file open function is it contains two attributes. One, we should mention the file name. After should mention the read or write mode. It can be write like R or W. After or we can use the second third attribute called die. If there was no file name with that file name mentioned here, then it will show an error message. This message can be given here. So this is the first method for using fopen, that is file open method. After the opening a file, we can read the file content by using this fread function. So here you can see file underscore object. This is the object where we store all the details of file, like file name, file size, file type, file location. All the details are stored in this object whereby through the fopen function. So after opening a file, we can read the content of the file by using that object where we store the file details, and we can access the file size, or we can access the file name, or we can access the file type. All the data can be read to this message. So we can understand the fopen, fread, and fclose. So fclose is simply to close a file which was already open. So so what is the syntax? Fclose object name. So here we can understand how to write a file name also. So fwrite file name and text. This text will store in this variable. So all these four functions will discuss in the folder called demo21.php. First, open the coding of the demo21.php through notepad file and try to understand the codings written inside the demo21.php, where we use different functions of file related. So here you can see we use a first variable my file. So this is the object where we use a function called fopen. Here we open a file student.txt in read mode, and we use the die attribute also. If there was error, it means if there was no file name with this name student.txt, then it will show unable to open file error in the message. So after, if the file is open, then we can read the file content. For example, file size. We can read the file size and store the file size in the file name, and we can read the all the data is written inside the file by using this variable and print on the screen. So here you can see three. First we try to open the content which was written in the file name student.txt, which was created inside the server program called C colon WAM server and WW. Here you can see a file namely student.txt which was already created. Here we type the content, welcome to MUHS 12th standard C section. So I type the content. So first we try to access this file content and print the content on the screen in the PHP file. So close the file, open the server program where we try to open the file namely demo21.php. So here you can see the content of the file before write any text. Welcome to MUHS total standard C section is printed on the screen because of this coding. So after that what we do, again we open the file and try to write a new content. So here in the second group of code, we try to open the content in this group of code where we use a file open and open the content and print the content. For example, if you want to write the content welcome to MUHS Ambur to the file, then after writing this content, after open the file and type all the text which want to write in the file in the variable and use the write function. Here you can see write my file name, this is the object file, and the text, the new value is stored in the variable, and write this file name. And again open the file in read mode. Here you can see we open the file with write mode. Here we open the file with the read mode. So in here we read the content. Here we write the content. Again writing the content, we try to open the file and display the content after writing the text. So we try to open the same file and we try to refresh here. So go to the server, open.php, go to the server file. In the local host, type the file name demo21.php. You can see the output of that file. So the content of the file before we write the content is welcome to MUHS 12th standard, but we change the file's content through this write function where we write the new content called welcome to MUHS Ambur. So this is the content which was stored in the variable file. So if you have any doubt, go to the location, open the file. You can see the new content was replaced with the old content was replaced with the new content welcome to MUHS Ambur. So close the file. Again we are going to add a third group of coding where we try to update. It means we are going to append. When we use the write function, the write function will replace the old text with the new text. But here what we are going to do is we are not going to replace the bold text but simply adding a new text to the already returned file. So here we are going to add a new text called star 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 hello. This is end. So this is the content which we are going to append. That means we are going to add to the end of the file through the function called file underscore put contents. So where we used to open the file student.txt and we append the file through this attribute. So all the new appended text is stored in the variable .txt, and we used to append and log the file. After opening the content by using the file put underscore content, we open the content in read more file and display the content. So first go to the file student.txt, change the content, the original content which we actually want to display on the screen, that is, so here I am trying to type the new content, that is the basic default text. So default text of the file is here, that is Mazahar Ulum. So this is the default content. So when I open the server program through the local host, you can see that the default content will display first, because at the beginning we open the file and display the content. After that we try to open the file and change the file's content by using the write mode, and by using file underscore put underscore content we try to change the content and add a new content to the file which was already created. So open the file demo21.php. You can see welcome to MUHS Hamburg. So the file shows some error. So close the coding, close all the codings. Here we try to open the content and open the file. So we already typed welcome to MUHS Hamburg. So this is the content which we already. So star 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 hello, this the end. So all the contents are updated here, you can see. So all the codings which we have written here is updated and stored in this variable. So here I again type the new content, that is hello to Mazahar Ulum. Okay, so open the server, open the file name demo 21.php. You can see hello to Muslim. The default text is displayed on the screen, and the default text is replaced with the new text welcome to MUHS, and the new text is updated with a newer text called star star star. So this is the text which we already describe here through the PHP program. So this is what we try to open in the try to discuss in the topic file handling, where we try to open file, write file, read file, close file, and append the file. So all the 5 actions we discuss here. Now we are going to see the next action called file upload. So by using the file upload method, we can send any file to the browser, to the server. We can upload any file, image file, it may be image file, it may be any file we can upload to the content. So here we try to create a file, two files, namely file upload.html, another one is student photo upload.php, where we try to write the file upload codings to help to understand how the files are uploaded through HTML files and PHP files. So first I open the HTML file. You can see a new tag called document type HTML, where we use the form tag again. In the action we used to type the PHP file which we want to open after pressing the input or upload button. Next we use the post method, and we use additionally a third attribute called end type, where we should mention the multi-part or form dot data. So without this attribute we cannot send any file to the upload function. Here we use two controls, one is file, another one is submit. So in the file is a text where we save the file location, and in the type second control where when we press the submit button, then all the data will uploaded. So the file type is automatically created the second control called the browse. So whenever we use this control, file control in the input type, then this control, the file control will apply, we created with a two boxes. One is text box where we try to store the file location, another one is browse button. Here you can see three controls. This is the file type, this file type create the browse button, and this is the upload image which was created here by submit. So these two input controls comes under one type called file. So what we want to do, we want to press the browse. Through the browse button we can access the local file locations. and we can select the pictures which we want. And when we select any picture, all the location of the picture is stored in this file, in this control. When we press the upload image, this data will send to the PHP file student underscore photo underscore upload dot PHP file. So now again I try to open the PHP file, which is very helpful for uploading the selected file. So here you can see, first we try to check whether the post button is clicked. So what is the name of the post button? Here is upload. You can see the post button name is upload. That's why in PHP we try to check the control name as upload. So these names are very important because we use these names in coding. So underscore post is the default variable which accepts all the information from the client and store inside this variable. Here we create 5 variables, namely file underscore name, file underscore size, file underscore temp, file underscore type, file underscore extension. What we do is, by using this the post, whenever a new file control sends any data to the PHP file, all the data is stored in the variable called file to upload. So this is the variable name. So we use this variable name file to upload. All the data of file is stored in the variable called underscore files. So underscore post underscore files is the server side variables which hold the data sent to the particular server file. So underscore files is the variable which holds all the file details. So through this underscore files variable, we separately access the name, size, tmp name and type and extension of that file, and we check the extension and we with the expression. So and also we try to display all the file name, file size and temp and type extension by using the echo command. After that we check the file extension which was stored in the variable file underscore x with the expression variable. If the file extension is not in this list, then it will show false, then it will show the error extension not allowed. And again we check the file size. If the file size is not greater than 2900 2,97,000 20,97,152 MB bytes, then it will show file size must be exactly 2 MB. If it shows any error, then it will show some error called if there is no error, then it will show success, and if there was any error, then it will show error. So first I try to open the file, and when I press the upload button, you can see the output file name chaisanthyanam.jpg, file size is 8,79,000, file temporary name is PSPE33D, file type is image, file extension is JPG, success. So this file is now uploaded in the server. You can see that file in the WAM server file. So go to the WAM server file location which was stored in the C drive WAM64. Inside that, in the WW, you can see the China's Tinem. See, the file name is displayed here. In the browser, the same file name is available here. So if you want to check, then go to the HTML and select a new file. It may be different file. For example, penguins, and click open. When you press the upload button, you can see penguin.jpg file is uploaded to this location. So jpg is correct, file size is this one and file type is this one. So file is successfully uploaded. So when you go to the server, and here when you refresh, you can see the penguin file is stored in the variable. See, penguin. So if you have any doubt, then select the sort order to display, to sort all the file by type. You can see all the image file display one by one. So there are only 2 image file. So go to the server and try to open the new file. So I try to open new file cola and try to upload. So you can see a cola file is uploaded here in the server. This is the simple method for uploading the file, any file. For example, if you didn't select any image file other than image file, if you select any normal ordinary file or any music file, then you can see it shows error. So this is the VLC recorder. So when you open any image file, when you press upload, then it will display file name VLC recorded something something, and it will show the error. Extension not allowed. Please choose a JPG or PNG. So this is the simple method of checking the extension of the file, which we already discussed here. Here you can see extension is stored in the expression file, expression variable, where we use three extension JPG, JPG and PNG. So here we check whether the file extension and the expression is equal. If not equal, it shows false, then this error will arise. And the same way, if the file size is very small, for example, I change the file size into 20 bytes. So here again I go to the server side and select the image file itself, for example lighthouse, and open. And when I try to upload the button, it will show the uploaded success image. Maybe it is not successfully update. So we can open the server freshly. So go to the server, WAM server, go to the local host. Here you can see the local host is open. Open the file upload, select the file, the new file tulips, and click open and press open button. Now here you can see file size must be 2 MB. This is the error when we try to check the file extension as well as we check the file size also. So these codings are executed through the file upload method. This is the function called student file upload. See, these functions are used in PHP for accessing the file data. The first function is set to check whether the upload function button is clicked by using the post method, and all the data are stored in the variable called underscore files. So whenever we use the input type file in the client server program, so here we should use the file name, file type must be file, then only this variable is working here, then otherwise it will show error. So this is the simple method of uploading any file through PHP programming. So I hope you understand the concept of uploading the file. Before using the file upload commands rules, one thing you should remember: in PHP server, in the php.ini file, so file underscore upload should be on, then only the file uploading option will work, otherwise it shows error. So for that, go to the server, in the php admin, here you can see php.ini. so this is the file name which is mentioned here. So go to this file and search the option file underscore upload in this text file. So upload, here you can see the files upload. So file underscore upload is equal to on, then only we can upload the file in temporary location, otherwise it shows error. So I hope you understand this file uploading option, file handling commands of PHP. This is the end of the lesson. So if you have any doubt, contact me through WhatsApp. Clear your doubts, prepare well for public examination. Best of luck. Assalamu alaikum.